It was a typical Sunday evening in 2013, and I was 22 years old. I had just finished a hearty dinner at my parents' house. Little did I know that this seemingly ordinary night would turn into a chilling experience I would never forget. My parents, my sister, and my two nieces had all left to go shopping, leaving only my brother-in-law and me at the house. Whenever we had the chance to hang out alone, our go-to activity was playing Halo. On this particular evening, we found ourselves in the last bedroom down the hall on the left, engrossed in a game of Halo 4, relishing some quality bro time. As we were immersed in our virtual world, we suddenly heard something down the hallway. Now, it's important to note that I have an identical twin brother, but at that moment, he was miles away working in California, and we hadn't seen him in months. The noise emanating from the end of the hallway started as a faint, low-beating sound, but it quickly morphed into what could only be described as footsteps. At first, we brushed it off, assuming it was just my parents or nieces returning from their shopping excursion. However, the speed at which the footsteps approached seemed oddly quick for them to be back so soon. The footsteps, slow but steadily growing louder, caused me to pause the game. My brother-in-law, wearing a puzzled expression, questioned my abrupt halt. I shushed him with a raised finger, signaling that something was amiss. We sat there in silence, fixated on the bedroom door as the footsteps drew nearer, eventually stopping just outside the room. Oddly, I still wasn't frightened at this point, believing it was my family's attempt to playfully scare us. I even smiled, thinking it was all part of a harmless prank. With a grin, I got up and headed for the door, ready to greet them. However, just as I was about to reach for the doorknob, a voice from behind the door spoke. It was just loud enough for me to hear, but it sent shivers down my spine. "Hey guys," it said, and the voice was unmistakably my twin brother's. I stood there, frozen, slowly turning my head to look at my brother-in-law, who had gone pale, his jaw on the ground, mirroring my shock. Without wasting a moment, my brother-in-law scrambled to get behind me as I gathered the courage to open the door. My heart raced with anticipation, convinced that my twin brother had returned home to surprise us. I swung the door open, expecting to see him standing there with a mischievous grin. Instead, we were met with a sudden rush of cold breeze and an empty doorway. We exchanged perplexed glances and then peered down the hallway, which led to the empty kitchen. We called out my twin brother's name, "Dusty, is that you?" No response. We yelled for my mom, my dad, my sister, and my nieces, thinking that this might be some elaborate prank. But silence hung in the air, and our fear grew. The realization began to sink in that someone might have broken into the house. Without further ado, I rushed back to the room and retrieved a handgun that my dad kept beside the bed. I handed my brother-in-law a large machete that we usually reserved for yard work and camping trips. Armed and determined, we switched off the safety on my weapon, and I told him to watch my back. With the stealth and precision of SEAL Team 6, we combed through the entire house, checking every nook and cranny, shouting out, "Come on out, we know you're there." But to our bewilderment, we found nothing. We sprinted to check the doors and windows, only to find that they were all securely locked, and there was no sign of forced entry. Desperate for answers, we rushed outside to see if we could spot anything unusual. Yet, the surroundings were eerily quiet and devoid of any suspicious activity. We retrieved our phones, trembling with unease. I called my twin brother, and my brother-in-law called his wife, who was also my sister. When my brother answered the phone, I asked, "Are you home?" To my confusion, he responded, "No, I'm at work." My brother-in-law shouted at the phone, "But you said you were still shopping." We gathered everyone together and recounted our bizarre experience, but it was evident that none of them truly believed us. It was one of those surreal moments that you couldn't make up if you tried. Even to this day, as I reflect on that inexplicable encounter, I sometimes find myself questioning whether it was real or just a figment of my imagination. However, one thing keeps me grounded: the fact that I wasn't alone in experiencing this inexplicable event. I often call my now ex-brother-in-law, and every time I do, he reassures me, "Dude, I will never forget that day." It serves as a reminder that sometimes reality can be stranger than fiction, and some mysteries remain unsolved, lingering in the depths of our memories. Moving in with my fiancée was supposed to be the start of an exciting chapter in our lives. It was around June of 2020, and we had just found out that I was pregnant. As we eagerly anticipated the arrival of our little one, we decided to settle into a cozy apartment together. Little did we know that this decision would lead us into a world of unexplained events and eerie occurrences. Life was already challenging as I juggled my job as a baker at a local coffee shop with the demands of pregnancy. I often worked the early morning shift, starting at 4 a.m. and finishing at noon. Meanwhile, my fiancé's work had him occupied from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. This meant that many nights, I found myself alone in our new apartment. And to make matters worse, I had always been afraid of the dark, a fear that intensified in our new living situation. One fateful night, on September 3rd around 4:45 a.m., I experienced the first of many strange incidents. Our apartment was situated on the second floor of an old farmhouse that had been converted into 4 small apartments. The two of us occupied the second floor, while 2 older women lived downstairs. Our laundry room was in the basement, and it was common practice for everyone to shut the basement door securely. The door was heavy enough that if left unattended, it would naturally swing shut. That particular morning, I parked my car out back, away from the road, which meant I had to walk past the basement door. The hallway lights were off, but I had my phone's light to guide me. As I passed the basement door, I noticed something unusual. It was about 4 inches open. I dismissed it at the time, thinking it was just a minor inconvenience. But as I stepped out of the back door, something chilling occurred. The basement door slammed shut on its own. My immediate reaction was to blame it on the wind. It was a plausible explanation, or so I thought at the time. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the inexplicable happenings in our apartment only increased. On one eerie December night, at 3:45 a.m., the doorbell in our apartment began ringing incessantly, clicking on and off. My phone was fully charged, yet it kept showing me videos of an empty hall. The strange ringing ceased as abruptly as it had begun, and it never happened again. I couldn't ignore the other odd events that unfolded. Footsteps echoed through our home when no one was there, soft tapping sounds in the dead of night, and objects were mysteriously moved around. Lights that I had sworn I had turned off would be inexplicably on. I searched for logical explanations, attributing these events to anything but what I truly feared. The most chilling experience occurred one April morning when my son was about a month old. My fiancée had returned to work, and I was relishing precious moments cuddling our infant. I laid him gently swaddled in his crib while he peacefully slept, allowing me to take a well-deserved shower. The bathroom had a window that allowed the morning sunlight to stream in, so I wasn't worried when the light flickered and eventually went out. I continued my shower, but as I rinsed my face with water, the temperature suddenly skyrocketed to an unbearably hot level. Startled, I pulled back and opened my eyes. To my horror, the shower curtain was completely open and the water was unscalding hot. Fear gripped me, and I quickly stepped out of the shower, wrapping myself in a towel. My anxiety escalated when I realized that my son had begun screaming hysterically. I rushed to his bedroom and found his swaddle perfectly open, not as if he had kicked it open, but laid out in a perfect square flat in his bed. Just as I picked him up to console him, all the lights in the apartment abruptly went out. None of my neighbors experienced these bizarre electrical issues. Terrified and trembling, I hastily got dressed and secured my son in his car seat. I wasted no time driving to my mother's house, where my fiancé was off work. We decided we couldn't stay in that apartment any longer. Even after we turned in our 30-day notice and left that haunted apartment behind, the memories of those 2 years still haunt us. We spent as little time there as possible, always anxious and on edge. Even today, driving past that old place sends shivers down my spine, a chilling reminder of the unexplained events that unfolded within its walls. Some mysteries remain unsolved, and some experiences are etched in our memories forever. Our time in that haunted apartment will forever be a chapter in our lives that defies explanation, a testament to the inexplicable forces that can sometimes invade our reality. Have you ever experienced something so bizarre that it left you questioning the very fabric of reality? In this story, we will delve into the world of unexplained phenomena, drawing from personal accounts and mysterious events shared by others. From strange encounters in a shelter for mothers and children to eerie childhood memories, the paranormal has a way of creeping into our lives when we least expect it. Imagine working the night shift for over a decade at a shelter, a place designed to provide safety for mothers and children escaping violence. Throughout those years, numerous clients shared their peculiar experiences, leaving an indelible mark on the staff. These individuals, from different walks of life, all shared a common belief: the house held an inexplicable energy, or perhaps it was home to elusive apparitions. Working night after night in such an environment, it wasn't long before I had a few unnerving encounters of my own. On 2 distinct occasions, I felt an uncanny presence standing right in my personal space. It was as if an invisible entity had infiltrated my comfort zone, causing the hairs on the back of my neck to stand on end. Each time, I turned around, ready to confront the intruder, but no one was there. One particular incident stands out among the rest, a perplexing experience that continues to haunt my memory. It occurred during one of my overnight shifts, between the eerie hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. At this time, the shelter's residents were fast asleep, and I had completed my rounds. Seated at my desk in the office, I found solace in the soft glow of the TV. As fatigue began to set in, I leaned my head on the desk for a brief respite. It was a routine act, a momentary escape into the realm of rest. But on this night, something peculiar transpired. I entered a state akin to a micro-dream. In this dream, I sat at my desk, just as I had been moments before. However, my dream self witnessed a woman slowly descending the staircase, passing by the office door. The intriguing aspect of this vision was my immediate recognition that I had never seen this woman before in the shelter. She was an older African-American woman, elegantly dressed in pink, with a hat reminiscent of 1920s or 1930s fashion. Oddly, in my dream, I felt an inexplicable sense of security in her presence. I decided not to disturb her and let her be. Abruptly, I awoke to find myself in the exact setting I had witnessed in my dream, the panoramic view outside my office door. Yet, the woman was nowhere to be seen. It left me wondering whether this was a mere micro-dream or a paranormal encounter, a glimpse into a world beyond our comprehension. Childhood memories have a peculiar way of lingering, especially when they involve inexplicable occurrences. One such memory takes us back to a time when I was about 4 years old, residing in an ancient house in a neighborhood where needles stuck to the sidewalks, an unsettling setting, to say the least. Our laundry adventures were carried out in the depths of the house, an unfinished basement that exuded an eerie atmosphere. My mother, always resourceful, turned our laundry expeditions into a game. She would carry me in a laundry basket, playfully threatening to toss me in the washer with my clothes if I ever refused to take a bath. Yet, what made this basement truly unsettling was the shadow on the wall. A shadow with no apparent source, yet it seemed to move if you stared at it long enough. It was in that basement that I experienced discomfort and anxiety for the first time, a departure from the protective embrace of my parents. When we eventually moved from that house, I overheard my mother whispering to my grandmother, expressing hopes that the shadow wouldn't follow us, a testament to the eerie presence that had taken residence in our former home. Another enigmatic encounter from my childhood occurred during my elementary school days when I played hide and seek with a friend. In this instance, I hid at the top of the stairs, nestled beside a small corner adjacent to her bedroom door. The area was dimly lit, which I assumed would provide the perfect cover. However, as I waited for my friend to seek me out, I noticed something inexplicable. I turned my face toward the door and peered underneath it, only to find another face staring right back at me. It was a pale face with dark, sunken eyes, mere centimeters away from mine. Frozen in fear, I engaged in a bizarre staring contest with this mysterious visage, a silent exchange that seemed to stretch for an eternity. And then, just as abruptly as it had appeared, the face blinked out of existence. I fled home early that night, shaken to my core. As time passed, the family I was playing with faced a series of unfortunate events, spiraling into turmoil. Addiction, suicide attempts, and hospitalizations became their grim reality, a stark contrast to the picture-perfect family they once were. In the realms of the unexplained, our encounters with the supernatural often leave us bewildered and searching for answers. From the inexplicable presence in a shelter to the unsettling shadows of childhood, these experiences challenge our understanding of reality. Perhaps, as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the paranormal, we'll come to realize that spirits may find unconventional ways to reveal themselves, perhaps even through our dreams. One thing remains certain: the inexplicable encounters we face continue to intrigue, mystify, and haunt our memories, leaving us in perpetual wonderment about the worlds beyond our own. Losing a dear friend is a heart-wrenching experience that leaves an indelible mark on our lives. The pain, grief, and longing can persist for years, making it challenging to find solace. However, sometimes, in the realm of dreams, we discover a surprising and unexplained connection that offers both comfort and mystery. "9 years ago, I faced the devastating loss of a lifelong best friend to suicide. The years that followed were fraught with difficulty as I grappled with the enormity of this loss. The waves of grief seemed unending, crashing against the shores of my soul. Yet, as time flowed on, I found myself slowly making peace with the tragedy, and life began to regain its rhythm. During the initial years following my friend's passing, something extraordinary occurred. I began to experience a series of incredibly vivid dreams featuring him. While some might attribute these dreams to the natural process of mourning, they always felt remarkably different. They were imbued with a sense of presence, as if my friend's spirit was reaching out to me from beyond. These dreams held a depth of meaning that transcended the ordinary. In them, I was not merely a passive observer, I felt actively connected to my departed friend. His presence was reassuring, and I woke from these dreams with a profound sense of comfort. It was as if, for a brief moment, the boundaries separating the living and the departed had blurred, allowing us to share an inexplicable connection. As the years passed, these dreams became less frequent. The passage of time seemed to have shifted the focus of my life away from the grief of my friend's passing. The dreams, once a regular occurrence, began to fade into the recesses of memory. While this was a natural progression, it did leave me with a sense of longing, a yearning for the connection I had experienced in those fleeting moments. Then, about 2 weeks ago, something remarkable happened. I found myself once again in the embrace of a dream that felt so vivid and real that it shook me to my core. In this dream, my dear friend had returned to me, as though he had never left. The emotions that surged through me were overwhelming: joy, relief, and a profound sense of longing all intertwined. In this ethereal encounter, I embraced my friend, the warmth of his presence as tangible as any waking moment. I conveyed to him how much I had missed him, and he, with a gentle smile, expressed his reciprocal feelings. However, there was a poignant moment of sadness as he shared that he would soon have to depart once more. I begged him not to go, for I understood that his departure might mean he would never return. But his response was both reassuring and enigmatic. "You know how to get a hold of me," he told me. "Just call me when you want to talk." In my dream, I was perplexed. "But I can't just call you," I protested, knowing the impossibility of reaching him in this world. With unwavering certainty, he replied, "Just call me. You can always call me. I'll answer." And with those words, I awoke, an intricate tapestry of emotions weaving through me. It was just a dream, one might argue, a manifestation of my subconscious longing. Yet, to me, it felt like much more. The unexplained connection between dreams and departed loved ones continues to be a subject of fascination and mystery. While science may seek to demystify these phenomena, the experiences of individuals like myself remind us that there are realms of existence beyond our understanding. In those vivid dreams, I found a bridge between the world of the living and the departed. It was a realm where longing could find solace, and where the profound connection between friends could endure, even in the face of mortality. As I reflect on these experiences, I am left with a sense of wonder and gratitude. Whether these dreams are a product of our subconscious or something more profound, they offer comfort and reassurance. They remind us that the bonds we share with our departed loved ones are not easily severed by the passage of time or the veil of death. And so, I leave you with this thought: in the quiet of the night, when you find yourself lost in slumber, pay heed to your dreams, for they may be the whispers of those you thought you had lost. In dreams, as in life, the connections we cherish can persist, and the departed can remain within reach, saying, "You can always call me. I'll answer." The realm of the supernatural has always been a subject of fascination and fear for humanity. Among the many enigmatic encounters people report, one stands out: the experience of being visited by shadow figures. These encounters often occur during sleep, but are notably distinct from the well-documented phenomenon of sleep paralysis. In this article, we delve into the eerie experiences of those who have been visited by shadowy entities, exploring the mysteries that surround them. The stories shared by individuals who claim to have encountered shadow figures are both chilling and perplexing. For many, these encounters begin in their late teens or early 20s, as was the case for the author of this article. The common thread in these accounts is the sensation of being pulled from a deep sleep only to be confronted by a humanoid figure. Describing these entities as shadow figures may be an understatement. Witnesses often struggle to find words to capture the profound darkness that envelopes these apparitions. It's as if a void has taken human form, a complete absence of light or color. These entities defy any conventional understanding of the physical world, leaving those who encounter them in a state of disbelief. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of these experiences is their persistence. The author recounts being visited by these shadowy entities multiple times over the course of a decade. This is not an isolated incident, but a recurring nightmare for many. The fear and anxiety that accompany these visits can be overwhelming. Confronted with such an inexplicable and menacing presence, it's natural to react with fear. Many who have experienced these encounters describe an immediate fight or flight response. Their hearts race, and instinct takes over. In an attempt to defend themselves, they may hurl objects at the shadowy figures, believing them to be intruders. However, the results of such actions are bewildering. Despite the intense fear and efforts to fend off these shadowy visitors, witnesses are often left dumbfounded. The objects thrown at the entities, such as blankets, pass right through them as if the figures were insubstantial. This bizarre and otherworldly response only adds to the sense of dread and confusion. The encounters with shadow figures are not limited to a single location. They have been reported in various settings, including dormitories, houses, apartments, and across different states. This phenomenon seems to defy the constraints of physical space, further complicating efforts to understand it. Interestingly, the experiences of these shadowy visitations vary across cultures. The author mentions a friend from high school with roots in Southeast Asia who provided an intriguing insight. According to this perspective, when spirits come to you at night and stay at your bedside, they are merely visiting. However, if they position themselves at the top of your bed, it is considered an ominous sign. Thankfully, the author has never encountered the latter. As with many inexplicable phenomena, individuals often turn to their own beliefs and experiences to make sense of these encounters. The author, personally attuned to supernatural matters, has their interpretation. While science may grapple with the nature of these shadow figures, for the witnesses, these experiences remain deeply personal and, at times, profoundly unsettling. The phenomenon of being visited by shadow figures not attributed to sleep paralysis is a perplexing mystery that continues to baffle both witnesses and experts. These encounters, characterized by their dark and enigmatic nature, challenge our understanding of reality and the boundaries between the known and the unknown. While science may offer rational explanations for such experiences, those who have lived through them are left with lingering questions and a sense of lingering unease. Perhaps in time, as our understanding of the human mind and consciousness deepens, we will unlock the secrets of these shadowy visitors. Until then, they remain an eerie enigma, a chilling reminder that the world of the supernatural still holds many secrets. Around 2004, a friend of mine made a bold decision to relocate to the Seminole Indian Reservation and settled in a quaint town called Naples, Florida. His new home was situated off DeSoto Boulevard, a narrow dirt road that was far from civilization. In this remote haven, he decided to host a housewarming party, which turned into a memorable night of celebration and camaraderie. Little did I know that my journey back home that night would take me down a path of sheer terror. My friend's house was a beautiful, secluded haven deep in the woods, miles away from the hustle and bustle of Naples. It was the perfect location for a tranquil life. However, this serenity would soon be shattered by an unexplainable encounter. As someone who had a deep passion for cars, particularly car audio systems, I had invested thousands of dollars in high-quality audio equipment, boasting an impressive array of highs, lows, and mids. On this fateful night, I was driving back from the party with my windows down and the music blaring. As I cruised down the desolate dirt road at approximately 30 miles per hour, I felt a peculiar sensation. It was as if something had lightly pushed against the back of my seat, akin to a small child playfully kicking it. Initially, I brushed it off, attributing it to the bumpy dirt road and the powerful 15-inch subwoofers in my trunk. To ease my nerves, I decided to light up a cigarette and lower the volume of my music. Yet, an unsettling feeling began to creep over me, the kind that makes you think someone is watching you. Given my remote surroundings, it was easy to understand why I might feel on edge. So, I reasoned with myself, trying to convince myself that there was nothing to fear, and continued driving. Just a few minutes later, I felt that gentle push against my seat once again. This time, I couldn't ignore it. An unexplainable sense of unease settled in, and I cautiously slowed down, glancing into my rearview mirror. To my horror, all I could see was a massive cloud of dust, tinged with the red glow of my taillights reflecting off it. Summoning the courage to confront whatever was causing this eerie sensation, I reluctantly turned to look into my back seat. What I saw that night will forever haunt my memories, a white face devoid of eyes, with its mouth slightly ajar. Terror overtook me, and I slammed on the brakes, leaping out of my car in a state of sheer panic. Imagine yourself in my shoes, alone on a dark dirt road, with only your car's headlights providing a feeble glimmer of light. I was in a state of panic, gasping for breath. My phone was still inside the car, rendering me utterly helpless. For what felt like an eternity, I stood outside my car, trembling and disoriented. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the inexplicable. Eventually, I mustered the courage to approach the car. To my immense relief, or perhaps disappointment, there was nothing in the back seat. It was as though the horrifying apparition had vanished into thin air. Cautiously, I slid back into my car and floored the accelerator, my heart pounding. I desperately tried to make a phone call to anyone who would answer, but unsurprisingly, there was no phone service in that desolate area. I disregarded speed limits, fearing nothing except the haunting image that still lurked in my mind. After approximately 20 minutes of reckless driving, I arrived home. I must have looked like a ghost myself, with my skin pale from head to toe. My mother, who was in the living room, made a remark that couldn't have been more appropriate. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I sat down on the couch and recounted the terrifying encounter to my mother, who had been waiting up for me. Like any good mother, she offered comfort in her presence. A few hours later, with no sleep, I ventured back to my car to inspect it for any signs of damage. Unsurprisingly, everything appeared entirely normal. Seeking an explanation, I turned to my friend, who happened to be a Seminole Indian. I recounted my harrowing experience, and to my astonishment, he had a theory. According to him, years ago, our great-great-uncle had met a gruesome end on that very road at the hands of a group of men who held animosity towards Seminoles and Black Americans. This tragic event had occurred in the 1940s, and the police had only discovered the body. The head was never recovered. My friend believed that the restless spirit of our great-great-uncle still haunted DeSoto Boulevard. Astonishingly, I learned that my encounter was not an isolated incident. Others had faced similar eerie experiences while driving along that road. DeSoto Boulevard, once a narrow dirt road in the wilderness of Naples, Florida, now bears the weight of a chilling history. The unsettling encounter I had that night remains etched in my memory, a testament to the inexplicable mysteries that can unfold in the most unexpected places. While official records from those days in the Deep South are scarce, the haunting presence of the past lingers in the stories of those who have ventured down DeSoto Boulevard. It serves as a reminder that history, particularly the untold stories, can leave an indelible mark on the present, and sometimes, even the most remote places can hide secrets that defy explanation. The world of the unexplained and the supernatural often leaves us in awe and fear. Among the myriad of eerie experiences people share, one stands out: the phenomenon of being visited by an enigmatic figure during sleep. Though it's tempting to label these encounters as sleep paralysis, some experiences defy easy categorization. In this story, we delve into the haunting experiences of those who have been visited by a mysterious presence that defies conventional explanation. My family was no stranger to change. Due to my dad's job, we crisscrossed the United States, calling approximately 9 different states our temporary homes. Sometimes, we even moved within the same state. My journey into the unknown began when I was 6 years old, as we settled into an old Victorian home in Wisconsin. Our new home, once the solitary house on a sprawling farm, had a rich history. It had witnessed the transformation from a vast agricultural expanse into a small town. Little did I know that this house held secrets that would haunt my nights. The first unsettling encounter occurred during my first year in Wisconsin. One night, I awoke around 1 a.m., my eyes drawn to a clock on the opposite wall. To my terror, at the bottom of the stairs stood a tall, faceless woman. She was about 6 feet tall, draped in a black and white striped dress that concealed her feet. Her long black hair framed her shadowy presence. Inexplicably, I found myself paralyzed with fear. It took nearly 5 agonizing minutes of squeezing my eyes shut to regain control and fall back asleep. To my bewilderment, I would wake up with small bruises on my arms and legs. At the time, I dismissed these injuries as mere coincidences. The same eerie occurrence repeated itself nearly 2 years later, just before we prepared to move again. This time, I was in my bedroom when I saw her in the hallway. She remained motionless, but I could sense her unsettling presence. The morning after, I discovered bits of my hair had been inexplicably cut. I initially suspected my sister, leading to family turmoil, but she denied any involvement. Our next destination was Kansas, where we moved into a cozy 2-story house, a departure from our usual preference for older homes. I was almost 11 when the chilling encounters resumed. One night, I fell asleep on the living room couch next to my mom. The room was snug, with a fireplace on one side and a staircase on the other, separated by a mere 10 feet. I opened my eyes to find her again, standing at the bottom of the stairs, faintly illuminated by a street light outside. The following morning, I woke with a debilitating migraine, the first and only one I've ever experienced. 5 years later, we embarked on another move, this time to Florida, into a rather modern home, an anomaly for my parents who typically favored older residences. With just one sister accompanying us, we settled in. However, within the first month, she returned. Paralyzed and unable to speak, I could only stare as she stood in the doorway, her attire unchanged. The following morning, I discovered cuts on my chest and neck. The encounters seemed to align with our relocations, and each time I was visited, I would bear physical marks or ailments. Yet, the most recent encounter, just a few weeks ago, defies all explanation. She was at the foot of my bed, her face still obscured. I could almost hear her breathing. Strangely, I woke up untouched, but later that day, I fell ill with a severe stomachache. While one might attribute these encounters to sleep paralysis, an overactive imagination, or even a malevolent entity, the lingering feeling that something is or was present persists. I still find random bruises on my legs, despite being in good health. Nausea often strikes when I'm alone or just before bedtime, and an eerie sensation creeps up my neck in solitude. The fear lingers even when my parents leave the house, compelling me to fill my schedule with work and school to avoid these unsettling moments. The encounters I've shared may be perplexing, and explanations may elude us, but they serve as a testament to the enduring mysteries of our world. While science strives to provide rational answers, some experiences defy easy categorization, reminding us that the boundary between the known and the unknown is far from fixed. As I continue to grapple with the unexplained, I find solace in sharing my story. Perhaps, by doing so, I may connect with others who have had similar experiences. Together, we can navigate the enigmatic realm of the supernatural, one eerie encounter at a time. Greetings to all in this digital realm. Today marks my debut in sharing an extraordinary tale that has unfolded within the confines of my apartment. With each keystroke, I aim to unravel the enigmatic and, quite frankly, unsettling journey I've embarked upon. But first, allow me to extend my heartfelt gratitude for granting me this platform to voice my experiences. In the corridors of my life, the paranormal and the mystical have always held a profound fascination for me. A steadfast devotee of the occult, I've immersed myself in the esoteric, treading the fine line between curiosity and caution. But let me be clear, I've never been one to tamper recklessly with forces beyond our understanding. Recently, I embraced a new chapter in life, the independent realm of apartment living. However, the transition was far from seamless. The rigors of university life weighed heavily on my shoulders, and I found myself in desperate need of an escape or respite from the mundane. It was during this quest for serenity that I stumbled upon a video on TikTok, a seemingly innocuous guide to manifesting. Manifesting, a practice that intrigued and captivated my mind, was my chosen path. The concept was simple. It involved slipping into a trance-like state and forging a connection with the unseen, the metaphysical. My intentions were pure, a pursuit of inner peace. As I embarked on this endeavor, my heart was hopeful, my mind tranquil. For weeks, I dedicated myself to these self-induced trances. Often, I ventured into this altered state with no specific desires or intentions, seeking solace in the depths of my own consciousness. But then, as if plucked from the depths of the abyss, something changed. A sharp, piercing pain seared through my wrist, shattering the serenity I had so painstakingly cultivated. No rational explanation could be found for this inexplicable agony, and it persisted throughout the day. It was at this juncture that my reality began to warp and bend, taking on an eerie, supernatural hue. Phantom pains, elusive and inscrutable, became unwelcome companions on my daily journey. My once silent apartment, a witness to my solitary existence, transformed into a realm of paradox. My cherished plants, symbols of life and vitality, oscillated between flourishing and withering, their leaves whispering secrets known only to them. The nights, however, bore the true weight of my descent into this enigma. As I straddled the liminal space between consciousness and slumber, I felt it, a presence, an entity that defied the boundaries of the corporeal realm. At the foot of my bed, an invisible spectator, and yet, to my dismay, almost visible in its obscurity. The sensations that accompanied these nocturnal specters were equally perplexing, a burning, as though an invisible hand held a searing brand against my legs. Sometimes, the sensation encompassed my entire calf, while at other times, it manifested as tiny pricks around my knees. On a particularly disconcerting night, it felt as though an invisible hand coiled around my ankle, tugging gently, accompanied by disembodied laughter that reverberated through the room. Now, dear readers, I stand at a crossroads. My apartment, once a sanctuary, now harbors a myriad of mysteries that elude explanation. Is it mere coincidence, a series of unrelated events strung together by my overactive imagination? Or have I, in my quest for tranquility, unwittingly invited something beyond the realm of comprehension into my life? As I navigate this labyrinth of uncertainty, I extend a humble plea to all who may read these words. Share your wisdom, your insights, and your experiences. Allow us to collectively unravel this enigma, to shed light upon the shadows that dance at the periphery of our understanding. For together, we may pierce the veil of the unknown and emerge with a deeper comprehension of the world that exists just beyond our senses. In the end, this journey serves as a testament to the boundless mysteries that encircle our lives, reminding us that, at times, it is the pursuit of the unseen that truly broadens our horizons. Human existence is a tapestry woven with threads of mystery, and one of the most enigmatic aspects of our consciousness is the realm of dreams. Among these dreams, there exists a subset that transcends time and space, where we feel inexplicably linked to characters and events of bygone eras. These are the past life dreams, and in this exploration, we shall delve deep into their mystique. Imagine dreaming of a life where you are not yourself, where the world around you is unfamiliar, and yet you feel every emotion, every heartbeat, as if it were your own. This is the essence of past life dreams, vivid, poignant, and often perplexing. One such dream led me to an Indian village. I was not the person I am in this life, but rather a small girl with a world of experiences waiting to unfold. The atmosphere was imbued with an ancient aura, as if I had been transported back centuries. It's a sensation that's difficult to put into words, a journey through time itself. In another reverie, I found myself traveling along a serene river. The tranquility was short-lived, as we were ambushed without warning. A searing pain tore through my chest as I was struck by a narrow projectile. What happened next defied the laws of the waking world. I watched from above as the boat dwindled into the distance, revealing a vast expanse of land, endless plains, and sprawling forests. The landscape whispered to me of Russia, though the era remained a mystery. Sailing through the annals of time, I became a passenger on a majestic ship, a vessel straight out of the 18th century. The billowing sails and the salty tang of the sea air were palpable. In those fleeting moments, I lived a life steeped in history. Hand in hand with a lady friend, I embarked on a stroll along the southern coast of England, high above the iconic white cliffs of Dover. The ambience was unmistakably that of the early 19th century. The waves crashed below us, and I could almost taste the salt on the breeze. It was as though I had been transported through the pages of history itself. Perhaps one of the most surreal dreams involved navigating a labyrinthine sewage system as a soldier. The water was tainted, and lifeless bodies floated around me, their vacant eyes telling stories of despair. Yet, within the confines of that dream, there was no fear, no revulsion. It was a matter of necessity, of forging ahead through the grim waters to reach safety. The common thread that binds these disparate dreams is the inexplicable connection I feel to the individuals and eras they portray. It's as though I am a mere spectator, a passenger in the lives of these characters. The feeling is indescribable, and it begs the question, could these dreams be glimpses into past lives I've led? As I continue to explore the landscapes of my dreams, I am drawn deeper into the belief that these nocturnal journeys are more than mere figments of my imagination. They are threads in the tapestry of my soul, each one woven into the intricate story of my existence. The pursuit of understanding these past life dreams has become a lifelong endeavor. It is a quest to unravel the secrets of my own consciousness, to fathom the depths of human existence, and to seek answers to questions that may never be fully explained. In closing, I leave you with a sense of wonder and curiosity. Past life dreams are windows to a realm beyond our comprehension, offering glimpses of lives lived long ago. They are reminders that the boundaries of our existence are fluid, and that the mysteries of the universe are far from being fully understood. As we part ways, remember that the world of dreams is a realm where time is an illusion, and where the past, present, and future coexist in a dance of enigmatic beauty. May your dreams carry you to places unknown, and may you too find yourself unraveling the tapestry of your own past lives. Driving late at night can be an adventure in itself, especially when you find yourself on a road shrouded in eerie tales and strange occurrences. Join me as I recount a peculiar experience that unfolded on State Road 82 in Fort Myers, Florida, about 15 years ago. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride through the unexplained. It all began one fateful evening when a friend and I decided to paint the town red. We ventured to a local club in Fort Myers, Florida, and as the night wore on, we found ourselves having the time of our lives. But as the clock struck 2:30 a.m., it was time to call it a night and head back home. Our journey homeward required us to traverse the infamous State Road 82, a stretch of highway notorious for its treacherous reputation. This road, known for its winding paths and haunting history, has seen its fair share of accidents, from motorcycle mishaps to semi-truck rollovers. It's a spine-chilling thoroughfare where strange sightings are not uncommon. As we continued our drive around 3 a.m., the night was wrapped in a thick fog, and our car windows were halfway down. The radio played some Pastor Troy tunes, and we were lost in the music when, suddenly, it happened. Out of nowhere, a cacophony of sound hit our car, resembling the heavy patter of raindrops on a tin roof. But there was a peculiar twist. There was no rain in sight, and we were driving at around 70 miles per hour with no other vehicles around. It was as if we had passed through a minuscule rainstorm, lasting just a second. We exchanged bewildered glances, our hearts pounding from the abrupt shock. The enigma of that brief rainstorm-like encounter left us baffled. However, on a desolate road like State Road 82, pulling over wasn't a particularly safe option, especially when there was no apparent issue with the car. Finally, we reached home, and our curiosity got the better of us. We decided to pull into a gas station to refuel and grab a couple of packs of cigarettes. While my buddy went inside the store to settle the bill, I took a moment to inspect the car. What I found left me flabbergasted. From the middle of the front hood to the end of the trunk, there were 8 distinct streaks. These weren't ordinary streaks, they seemed etched onto the car's surface. To add to the intrigue, My car had been meticulously washed and waxed just hours before our night out. Perplexed, I showed my discovery to my friend, and he shared my bewilderment. Determined to unravel this enigma, I decided to make a beeline for the self-car wash station. Armed with quarters and determination, I went through every setting and option the car wash offered, spending close to $15 in quarters, but the stubborn streaks remained untouched. Defeated by the mysterious streaks, I decided to call it a night and drop my friend off at his place. The next morning, I couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that something otherworldly had taken place. I decided to confide in my grandmother. My grandmother, an old Latina woman with a penchant for superstitions and a deep knowledge of Santeria, listened intently as I recounted the strange encounter and the perplexing streaks on my car. Without hesitation, she rose from her chair and disappeared into her bedroom. When she returned, she held in her hands a collection of items that seemed straight out of a supernatural tale: white sage, holy water, a rosary, and a small piece of silver. With a smile, I inquired if she was about to perform an exorcism. She chuckled and replied, "Kinda." We ventured outside, where my grandmother encircled the car with white sage, using it to cleanse both the interior and exterior. In one hand, she clutched the rosary while softly whispering something, and in the other hand, she carried a small rag doused in holy water. What happened next left me utterly dumbfounded. The stubborn streaks that had resisted every attempt to remove them were now vanishing, dissipating under the influence of the holy water and my grandmother's rituals. It was as though an invisible force was relinquishing its hold on my car. I couldn't help but ask my grandmother what she believed had caused this bizarre phenomenon. Her response sent a shiver down my spine. She posited that it was a malevolent entity, a demon, attempting to attach itself to my car. To this day, her words linger in my mind, haunting me with the possibility that she might have been right. The mystery of that strange night on State Road 82 in Fort Myers, Florida, remains etched in my memory, much like those enigmatic streaks on my car. It serves as a constant reminder that the world is full of unexplained phenomena, and sometimes the answers lie beyond the realm of our understanding. As I reflect on that night, I can't help but wonder about the forces that may exist beyond our comprehension. The supernatural, the paranormal, they continue to captivate our imaginations, and stories like these serve as a testament to the enduring mysteries of our world.